Good morning. September 24th, 2022 on a Saturday morning. 24th, 2022 on a Saturday. I have audio confirmation. I'm going to go back and see when did this actually start. No, I know what I'll do is I'll compare to see how far along it is. 28 seconds, that says, and up here it says 34, 35, 36. Okay, that looks like it starts pretty close to when XSplit tells me it started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday. The Zoom session is open. You're welcome to come in at any time. I'm going to go take a look at chat. And then, well, you know what? Before I do that, I should give a little orientation about today's session. So let's do that. Let's say that this is called Examining Another Sick Computer. And in the thumbnail, do I have the thumbnail visible somewhere? Oh, I know what I'll do. Let's go over here to the where I create the thumbnail, which is in Canva. This photo right here is obviously staged, or I'm looking through my doctor's goggles and a magnifying glass at the list of update history on this computer. Then behind it here, I have another photo. And I was just reviewing this before going live, trying to figure out what is going on here, because a few days ago, this computer in their office had a bunch of failed reports in the quality update section, which you're seeing over here. But today it's got a bunch of successful items, and those failed ones sort of weren't showing. I'm still scratching my head a little bit, but I think I've got a clue about what's going on there. It's like the old story where the car's making a noise, you take it into the mechanic, and it's not making the noise when you take it into the mechanic. Well, when I looked at this computer in my client's office, it had all these failed update messages in the history. But when I bring it in here, those failed update messages are not there. I think there's an explanation for that that proves that those updates actually did fail. Now, the reason why my client called me in was that the computer was stuck in a rebooting loop, failing to install updates. So it was trying to install updates, and they would fail, and it would try again and fail and try again. So I went in and selected the advanced troubleshooting options, and I looked at system restore. There were no restore points that I could restore from. So one of the things I'll be interested in this computer, I haven't checked yet to see if system restore is even enabled. And what I wound up doing is booting into safe mode. When I did that, it displayed messages that it was uninstalling or reversing the installation of updates. As a matter of fact, I've got some photos on that. Let's go show you that. Get back here to the beginning of those photos and give you an orientation to that. I'm trying to get back to the first one. So I got quite a few photos in here, it looks like. 59, 40. That, I think, was a different task. Where is it? Where is it? Ah, yeah, this is the first photo of that day. So here I'm in the advanced options. I did not do startup repair because I already knew there was failing to install updates. And then I went into uninstall updates. I'm going to go back to the prior photo and point out that on the right-hand side here, you see a photo with my mouse pointing to uninstall updates, indicating that's what I'm clicking on. So I click on uninstall updates, and I can choose uninstall latest quality update or latest feature update. And then I'll go on to the next photo. Yeah, I didn't capture there in the photos what happened. So here I'm back at selecting system restore. Oh, I know. Uninstall update, I had decided at that point I didn't know if it was a feature update or a quality update that I need to uninstall. So I decided to go back and try a different run at this. So I went into system restore And here I get a message where there's no restore points. Then going on, startup settings, restart Windows to change options. And what I'm doing here is selecting startup options because I want to start in safe mode. See what I get that way. Right arrow key again, and here I'm going to select option number 4. And then I get this message, we couldn't complete the updates, undoing changes, turn off your computer. And then the computer started up. Oh, here, this was interesting, AVG install path. I don't have AVG installed on this computer. I may have had it sometime in the past. This could have been residual from AVG, or it could be a some kind of an infection, maybe even a rootkit. If it's pretending to be something else, we could possibly call it a rootkit. Over here it says roots kernel setup, but I don't think the word roots right there means a whole lot to us. And I just did a more close-up photo there of that screen. Couldn't complete the updates, undoing changes. So these last few pictures you've seen are in sequence. And then here it is successfully at the desktop. See what picture I have next. All right, yeah, I can show more on this. Here I went in to look at update history to see what it would tell me. And here's that picture that was part of the thumbnail image showing cumulative update failed to install on 9/21. And that, I think I was there, the date that I was there was 9/21 up at the top of the screen. You can see that. That's the date that I took the photo. So I was there on that date. And then this one failed to install. It's a different update number. This cumulative update successfully installed, but that was for .NET Framework. So that's a different update. Security update for Windows 10 version, such and such. There's 2170 again. So there that failed. 2170 again failed. 2170 failed. 2170 failed. 2170 failed. So when we get over to actually looking at the computer, well, and why not do that now? Why not do that now? Let me turn off that blurring. There you go. So is the quality update section. Expand that section. Oh, it's really tiny. So I'm looking for that date, September 21st. There is no September 21st at the top of that list. So none of those failed updates are showing in the update history now. The last failed update that I captured on that photo, you can see right here, was September 8th. Coming back to the subject computer, there's September 8th would have been between these two items here. So it's not showing any of those failed updates. I don't know why that is. That struck me as weird. I'm going to see what photo is next in my collection of photos. This is just another photo of that same shot of the failed updates, a little further zoomed out. These were the photos from September 21st that shows the failed updates. And then what I did is I just backed off the updates. Told don't try again. I wanted the user to be able to use the computer through the rest of the week. Then rest of the week. And I was planning to pick it up Friday at the end of her work day, which I did last evening. And then I at that point, I was just ready to do a wipe and reload. Still kind of am ready to do that. And so now it's not going to do updates. It's not going to try to do updates until October 26th. But of course, I'm working on it this weekend to do something else with it. Let's see what picture I have next. Yeah, the next picture is a totally different troubleshooting environment that we'll get to next. Let's go and say hello to Chris. Chris, I'm going to bring you up on screen here and give you a little bit of heads up. Here you are on screen. Hi, Chris.
Hey,
Welcome aboard. Did you have any opening comments or just here to hang out and see what happens?
just here to hang out.
All right, very good. I'm going to go pop into chat and say hello to some people. I did a couple hellos at the beginning to Boss and Tony. Jim says it's not dead, it's resting, it's pining for the fjords. That went a little bit over my head. Not quite sure what it means. I know what fjords are. Just admitting that. And there's some chit chat between people. I'll kind of breeze over those. Ida says hello. Still standing after Hurricane Fiona. Don't know why, but day after my monitor gets diagonal scratches and no water nor wind came through the window. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Her monitor got diagonal scratches, apparently as a result of Hurricane Fiona. Had to buy another monitor today. Oh, is that bad? It's the second time the same thing happened to my monitor. Last time was during Maria, September 2017. Don't understand why. That is very strange. Ran Israel. Hello to everyone. Let's see, I guess I'm not reading out people's names here right now. I'm just looking at comments. Greg Guy from St. Mary's County, Maryland, U.S. Navy retired. Lost in Film, he's a regular on my Fortnite channel. Lost in Film, I know you well enough. I'm going to turn you blue. Technically, that means making you a moderator. I'm not asking you to do moderation duties, just it lets people know that I recognize you. In Stout's listening while driving home. Dennis is here, but that show in the UK is still airing. He's got a show a live show he likes to watch Saturday mornings. Hellos back and forth between people. Ida, always the same happens, even though this time place the monitor down on my desk. Still diagonal scratches the next day. Have electricity and water after 3 days is a miracle. How strange. I diddle-dee-doo needs burring nose. I have no idea. Greg, I had the same errors on my PC. Doug, you had to reinstall Windows 10, fix Defender, and NetFrames updates would install, but no other for months. And Windows Defender and .NET updates would install, but no others. Yeah, so similar thing as we had with Greg. And I've been through this a few times in my videos on my channel, trying to fix Windows updates. And actually, this computer, I worked on it. I haven't looked back at my time slips, but I worked on it maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I think what I did is I just got her back up and running. And I postponed the updates way off into the future. And now that future has arrived and it's crashing again. So I'm very much settled in my mind that I'm ready to do a wipe and reload on this. But I thought we might do a little tinkering around with it first. Now I've already done a full image backup. I've done a full image backup last night, Macrim Reflect to an external drive, and I've done a Fabs auto backup to the external drive. So that's all done. We can hammer away at this if we are so inclined. Now, somebody recently was asking me to do a little exploration of MRT, that Microsoft Malicious Removal tool. And I think that was on one of those days when things got wonky, and either it might have been the one that I had to go edit and therefore I lost the chat comments, or it might have been the day that YouTube that crashed. I think that was yesterday. So whoever that is, please identify yourself in chat if you were the one asking for that MRT. We can go look at that. Lawn Dog, Doug, can we clarify something? When you say failed update, it did try and download the update, and then during the install something went wrong versus not going to Microsoft for the update. Yes, it did try to install the update. It was during the restarting process. In fact, we can actually try to install that update here today during this live stream. if more than one person says, yeah, let's try that. Mike Novelli, preventive health care is preferred to treating the sick. Certainly. But what does a person mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What preventative health care are you suggesting should have been done before these Windows updates were failing? Yeah, I don't know. If I were to be able to roll back the clock to prior to that first failed update, that was maybe a couple months ago, and if I knew it was about to fail updates, what would I do in terms of preventative health care to prevent that? I'm kind of pulling a blank there. Oh, it's a Monty Python reference. Of course, that's why I didn't get it. Over my head. Dave Hall, watching from Bristol, Wisconsin. Hello, Dave. I recognize your name from Carrie Holzman's channel. You'll recognize other people in the chat room. In fact, I recognize your name so often there. I'm just going to go ahead and turn you blue here. This might very well be the first time I've seen you here. Not sure. There is a tropical storm heading west coast of Florida. I may head up in my area of Georgia. Chris, what do you mean by that? I'm going to come back to you.
It might head up. That's what I meant.
Oh, it might head up to your area of Georgia. All right, good. Thank you. And let's go say hello to Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hey, guys.
Did you have anything to comments to start out with, or just hanging out?
No, not just yet.
All right, just want to give you the opportunity if you did. And continuing here.
Not just yet.
All right, system file checker.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry
I'm not a big fan of system file checker. We'll do it if more than one person is asking for that. I know anytime you go, particularly into the Microsoft community forums, I don't think I quite have the word right, their title right for that, but they're always system file checker and DISM. Just about anything that they don't have a specific answer for, they do that. I've never found it. Lawn Dog says it was him that was asking for MRT. It's an interesting original tool. Yeah, well, it's still the malicious software removal is still available through the user interface on Windows 10, but I think this would just be a DOS level way of running it. I'm suspecting. It was Lawn Dog asking for MRT. I mainly want you to start the program. In the first screen that pops up, I want you to click on a blue section that talks about the viruses it stands for. All right, we'll do that. It scans for, not stands for, but scans for. Dave Hall says, thank you for turning in blue. MRT has the ability to scan for the worst of the worst viruses that are actual roots of viruses we are dealing with today and rootkits. DISM might be another repair tool. Yeah.
Doug?
Yeah.
Just an FYI, I opened up a command prompt in administrator mode, MRT. It's there on Windows 11.
Oh yeah. It's on Windows 11 still. I'm sure Microsoft tends to keep a lot of the old stuff around, and I'm not even sure that it's old in the sense of obsolete. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's still the same engine that you get when you go into the security section within Windows. We might kick around and explore that a little bit. All right. But I'm not willing to say at this time Windows Defender does not have those virus definitions built into it. But what's interesting is this tool is still in Windows. They never deprecated it. Something like that scans for corrupted system files and fixes them is different than scan now. I'm sorry, I can't remember the letters for the command. For WIM. Windows image manager. Yeah, it's I don't think that's not a typo for WIN. I do believe he meant WIM. Ryan, did you give the computer some antibiotics? No, I poured some alcohol over it though. Just kidding. Selden Ball SFC did help me once, though I don't recall the details. I did see System File Checker report that it found a problem and fixed it, but it did not fix the problem that I was after. Lawn Dog says that's it, DISM. Ryan, if it has a virus malware, what about AW Cleaner? I found that to be very effective. My inclination is this is really just broken Windows Update. Now, I should tell you, this computer has a sticker on the front of it, Windows 7. It's quite possible that this computer, oh, Jim, I just can't, when you laugh like that, I just gotta capture it. Oh, yeah. So this computer probably upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10 and has never been rebuilt from scratch since then.
God, there's so much damage in there probably.
Yeah, and I think this computer has been through other troubles that I've repaired. So I'm really not interested in spending much time on this. If we slam around, take around with it, take sledgehammer to it, software-wise, that's fine with me. But after it's over today, I'm most likely going to do a nuke and pave, wipe and reload, whatever you want to call it. Doug, you're expressing my exact same thoughts on how Microsoft picks and chooses what to deprecate. And they always talk about cleaning up old things in Windows so they don't have to support them. Well, they also tend to keep them around because there's a lot of, especially corporate shops, that may have some legacy scripts, utilities, maintenance that they run that relies on the old utilities still being there. My sense of it is they're very reluctant to remove old utilities. Now, perhaps taking a look at the date, the creation date of the current mrt.exe file might give us a clue as to whether this has actually been upgraded through versions. Also, another thing is when we actually run, I think you can actually run the malicious software removal process from within the security panel. Well, at that point in time, if we go look at Task Manager, is mrt.exe running? mcert from MS Scanner is a scan tool designed to find and remove malware from Windows computers. Simply download it, run a scan to find malware, and try to reverse changes made by identified threats. Okay, I don't recognize mcert. I would suspect that coming from Gary that it's a Microsoft tool. Of course, there's from mcert from MS Scanner is a scan tool. Yeah, I'm not really aware of that one. Yeah, this is exactly the command that I've seen given over and over through the Microsoft community channel, which is volunteers offering their time for free to help people. And I've attempted that a lot and for Windows Update problems. And it's never solved that for me. That's the command line function that you definitely should try just to make sure everything isn't corrupted. It's really a long command and word probably worth restoring. Restore and it. Word. Yeah, I think that takes a long time to run, if I remember right. And this is catching up in DVR mode. Ryan just joined, missed some stuff. Yeah, I gave an orientation at the beginning of, basically just shows that this computer is failing Windows updates. I started the computer in safe mode to get it back into operation. Then I deferred updates so that I could get the user back to work for the rest of the week, because this happened Wednesday or Thursday. This is the command that I'm thinking of. You got around it on the command line. This is the command that I'm thinking of. You got around it on the command line. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. We'll just open an administrator prompt and run it. company I work for still uses Windows 7. Sure, it is still in use for specific reasons. And from RAN, MRT is updated every month via Windows Update. So yeah, that confirms it is still an active current product. Again, Doug, you're expressing my same thoughts. If you were to get rid of MRT, if they were to get rid of MRT, I'm trying to think of the ramifications that would occur even if somebody relied on it these days. Yeah, I'm really thinking, particularly with Rand's comment, that it is still an active product. Latest version is 10 days old of the MRT. Gary verifies it's a Microsoft tool. What he's telling us back up here, MCert. Scan tool designed to find and remove malware. See, the reason why I'm thinking it could be a malware issue, because malware and viruses, one of the things that they would want to do, and rootkits, they would want to prevent, some of them would want to prevent Windows updates from occurring if they fear that those Windows updates are going to interfere with their malicious activities. That sounds like the original Microsoft Security Essentials scan tool, which you used to download and run it from a DVD as an offline scanner. Absolutely cool tool, but I think it's been deprecated. Yeah, let's see, Lon Doug. That sounds like, is he, if you're referring to MSCert, I doubt, or MCert, I doubt that it's no longer available. Is he talking about MCert or, oh, here's saying MCert. Oh, Wintermute. That's Wintermute giving us a link, not Lawn Dog, who says it's no longer available. We'll see what that link's about. Was it MSRT? Wasn't that the MCert? MSERT. MSERT. Do a find MSERT. Oh yeah, right here. Safety scanner helps remove malicious software. Windows 11, 10. That doesn't look like it's deprecated. That looks current. Yeah, that looks still current. Yeah, that looks current. All right. Hello from Florida, William Dawson. You have to run this on command line, which I guess is now PowerShell. No, I think you can still do it on command line. PowerShell did not obsolete the command prompt window. It will still work. Did not see MRT listed in Task Manager. That's implying that he just ran the malicious software removal tool from the security panel, and he didn't see it in Task Manager. He doesn't actually say that. William had that before. Microsoft had reload it. Took them an hour to come to the choice to reload Windows. Had that before, and Microsoft had reload it. Took them an hour to come up with a choice. I'm reading between the lines there. I'm thinking that he was working with Microsoft tech support. And as far as had that before, maybe he had this problem of Windows updates. You download that link, you get MSERT. You download from that link. Oh, all right. That's where he gets that it is yeah, here it is down the bottom left, MSERT. Okay, good. Thank you, Doug, for digging that information out. That's fantastic. MSRT, I'll definitely look into that because it's a great repair tool. Let me see if I can get it going. It sounds like he's going to try it right now. But with Windows 10 these days, you can do the offline scan. I just want to compare what it does. Yeah, is MSRT from a DOS prompt comparable to offline scan? I doubt it, because I think the offline scan is going to be able to deal with rootkits that anything you run with the operating system running is not going to be able to get to the same level of rootkits as the offline scan could. Safety Scanner was a renaming of Microsoft Security Essentials offline scanner tool. Okay. Not running in the background, you have to manually run it. Missed a few words. Yeah, I understand that. I try to figure it out when I come across that. So Gary, I'm going to come over and have you say hello if you would.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, did you have any opening comments or just here to participate?
Here to participate.
Very good.
Life
Thank
is good.
you. Life is good. Is that what you said?
It is today.
Good. Good. Glad to hear that. Okay, so let's get over to this computer. I have it connected. And here is that update history window. So my first interest is that MRT. Oops, I got to bring the right keyboard over here. Windows key, CMD, and then down here I'll click Run as Administrator. Oh, let's make some things bigger first. How about that? I'll go to mouse settings, make the mouse pointer bigger. Do I have? Oh, I have blurs on there. Let me turn those blurs off. Nope, that turned the blurs on. It's just tiny. All right, see it over here for now. In the upper right, I'm clicking on Adjust Mouse and Cursor Size, and then change the pointer size up to bigger. And then let's consider display settings, see what resolution we're on. 1920 by 1080. But we go to, what's the right ratio?
Well, you could try scaling it to maybe 125, 120%. Maybe that would help.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's try that first. I don't want to go to 150 because a lot of times that will cause buttons in the bottom right corner to not be accessible, not be viewable. Okay, now got a bigger mouse, and then CMD, Run as Administrator, yes to the user account control prompt. And let's make this one bigger. Up here in the upper left, I can click on that icon, then choose Properties and Font, and choose, let's say, 20-point font instead of that default of 12. MRT, enter. That didn't get it. What did I miss? Yeah, I did. I got it. Windows Malicious Software Removal Tool. Welcome to the Microsoft Windows Malicious Software Removal Tool. Let's go ahead and try lower resolution. Reason for a bunch of old people to be straining our eyes. Click Next. To scan for and help remove specific malicious software from your computer. For more information, please see the online documentation. View list of malicious software tool that this tool detects and removes. I think that's what he was asking us to click on. This tool is not a replacement for an antivirus product. To help protect your computer, you should use an antivirus product. For more information, see Protect Your PC. And then here's a list of malicious software that it goes after. So is this claiming to do things that an antivirus product would not do? It is telling us that this is not a substitute for antivirus product. So it does not do as much as it doesn't do everything that an antivirus product does. This kind of looks to me like it's after specific malicious software. and just that list of stuff. Does that imply that antivirus software might not go after some or all of these? I don't know. Now, that's all he was asking us to do. I think it was Lone Dog, right? Let's see. He says, I find that interesting statement. I think that paragraph was written 20 years ago. Okay. May no longer be accurate. What else did I miss? William, rootkits can hide itself from scanners when run within Windows, but DOS does not run Windows. Yeah. That's why they're so doggone evil. If you're familiar with a lot of viruses over the years, you will notice a lot of root names for common viruses that are still plaguing us today. One time it took 24 hours for that WMST to run on Windows 7. Didn't find anything though. Find that an interesting statement. Hasn't changed. Interesting. This tool will try to fix but not prevent. I kind of interpret that as meaning there are antivirus tools from other people, possibly that won't check for this. I don't know. It's confusing. New version of MRT is downloaded Microsoft every Tuesday. All right. Well, since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and run it. I'll be surprised if we wind up bailing on it. So quick scan. If there is malicious software preventing the Windows updates from running, I would expect them to be running currently in active memory to prevent Windows updates from occurring. So a quick scan should be adequate for that. Full scan is definitely going to take longer. Customized scan is in addition to quick scan, this tool will also scan the contents of a user-specified folder. You know what? This computer came from that same office, the same office as the computer that we were working with last week that had that law local folder, and inside there was a backup folder, and inside there was an extras folder that had a file that was being reported as a virus. So I'm going to select that folder to include with a quick scan. I already did look in that folder. That particular file that we were being alerted to last week does not appear there, which supports the thing that my comment that stated that I thought that file in that backup folder might have been residual from a long time ago. Well, Doug, the proper way to do this is run a full scan, but I'm telling you it will take some time depending on how much content is on that hard drive. I agree with that, and I don't really want to do the full scan during this live stream. I believe the custom is for pointing the scan tool to a specific place. Yeah, in addition, it said in addition to the quick scan. So it is doing the quick scan. Yeah, we can see that it's scanning Windows System 32 right now in subfolders. So far, 0 files infected. I'm going to guess and suspect this is going to take a few minutes, several minutes, perhaps.
Probably between 15 and 20.
Yeah, it could be. Now, are there other things that I can pull up on screen to look at while we're waiting for that? Yes, there are. So I'm going to click on the Start button, go to Security, and Security Maintenance. I'm looking for where the malicious software removal tool appears in here, because I believe it does. Firewall, virus protection, view and Windows security, user account control, Liability history, start maintenance, recovery. So of those choices, I'm going to try virus protection view and Windows security. Ransomware protection, no action needed, although I bet you that's not even turned on. Let's click on that. Yeah, see, it's not turned on. That's something I really don't like the way they worded that. And I think controlled folder access is off by default. And I'm a little uneasy about turning that on without investigating it further, because I think it can cause some unintended consequences. Protect files, folders, and memory areas on your device from unauthorized changes by unfriendly applications. Part of their definition of ransomware recovery is to have OneDrive operational as well. Here's the Defender scan options. Virus and threat protection settings. Real-time protection, cloud data protection, automatic sample, tamper protection, controlled folder access, exclusions, notifications. Is that malicious software entry that I recollect being in here no longer here and I just didn't realize it? Okay, how about this way? Called malicious software removal tool, right? So if I do Windows search, malicious software removal tool is just pointing me to a web result. Feeling like I'm missing something that I'm digging for. William Dawson, a malware remover can act as a scan tool and remover, but not protect you. Sounds like you may need to do a total scan of their machines if a file on the server is the source. No, Doug, I don't believe MRT is available in the current Windows security, blah, blah, whatever they call it. I believe it's only available by using the run command. Just press Windows key and then type MRT. Yeah, that's going to get me to MRT, but I thought it was in the GUI user interface somewhere. Yeah, Windows key MRT is just going to bring up the mrt.exe to run it. I don't think there was something else in the user interface in the security environment that I feel sure that I've seen recently. As far as I know, MRT manual tool not scheduled or automated. Personally, Doug, it would be my unconfirmed opinion that MRT has been incorporated into Windows Defender. Makes no sense not to have the history of that tool and its signatures for detection. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Oh, well, we should check. Is last scan? Oh, the scan's done. Is it? No, wait a minute. No, let me get to the right place. Here. Oh, it is done.
It's quicker than I thought.
But I don't see any report. See, here's MRT. Oh, MRT pulled up another window.
Yes, there's got to be another one there.
Is this it? Oh, here it is. No malicious software was detected. So it did run it here. So then I'll click finish, but then I'm going to run it again and see if, well, of course I'm running MRT
Oh, that's no good.
from DOS. So of course it's going to show up
You bastards.
in Task Manager. And it's actually launched right now. Let's go to Yeah, here's one of those situations where I can't get the bottom of this window. I got it when I maximized it. So let's come over here to disk. No, it's not what I want. Here's MRT running in memory. Okay. And then I'll come over and exit from MRT. Does it close? Still seeing it here. Minimize these other windows. So I have exited MRT, but it is still in memory. Now this should be a live responsiveness here. This screen doesn't show me CPU activity for MRT, so I'll go to the CPU tab, sort these by image name. Here's MRT. It's gray. It says terminated. Right there says terminated. Bring it back up. And there, oh, it opened a second instance. The terminated one was there momentarily, but it has disappeared. Okay, close that. We should get a terminated message showing up here. Come on. There it is. Just showed up. Terminated. Now, back to security and maintenance and run a scan. Here, quick scan. Scanning now. Does MRT show up? Does not. All right. Scan is still running. MRT is still not shown up. So kind of making me think that it's not synonymous with doing an active scan. Marioel, hello. Welcome aboard. Good to see you. Read out it's terminating. See you. Saying hellos. Now. So we covered the areas that we were requested to do with MRT. This scan is still running. How about actually running the Windows update to see the sequence that occurs? It's probably going to take a while to run. Is there an appetite among the audience for that? I'll rephrase if for those who weren't here at the beginning, I am very much resolved to doing a nuke and pave on this computer. This computer has a history of trouble with Windows updates, and I've worked on it before trying to fix that. I can't promise you that I've done the DISM or the other one we were talking about. Those two we were talking about earlier. I have tried them many times in the past to fix Windows Update and never solved it with that. And those two techniques take a while to run.
Did you try removing the software distribution folder and rerunning Windows Update?
Yes, that is definitely part of my routine because I have had that solve the problem. There are a list of things that I have encountered in the past to solve Windows Updates issue. I'm coming over to another screen to see if I can pull up my listing of things. In fact, I think I have even explored it a bit on stream with you all. And I think I've even added more to it. Let's see, is this? That's not it. So within this OneDrive document, update Windows Update checklist. Yeah, so now I'm going to look through this real quick and see if there's any client specific content in here. I think I tried to keep this pretty clean. All right, so here, install Microsoft Update Health Tools. That's a little bit obsolete. Download a manual update. This is one that has worked for me many times. Manually download the update from the Windows Update library and install it directly. I've had that solve this problem a number of times. The last time that I worked on this computer, I think it was a couple months ago, that I don't believe solved the problem. I suspect that, and I haven't gone back to look at my notes, but I suspect that what I did with this computer back then is just use safe mode to uninstall the update and then change the update date far off into the future. And I was just kicking the can down the road because we had to get her back up and running. If I had been more diligent,
You've caught up with the can.
I've what?
You caught up with the can.
Yeah, I have caught up with the can. I kicked it down the road and now I'm there. If I had been more disciplined or diligent, I would have set myself up for a weekend to rebuild this computer from scratch or readdress the issue. But I know I've gone after this computer regarding Windows updates more than this last time that I was mentioning. And I have succeeded in the past, but it keeps coming up. So now one thing that I did last time that I had it in for work, is I upgraded from a spinning hard drive to an SSD and I upgraded RAM memory just because even the troubleshooting on it was just so slow. It had those slow components.
Well, the reload's going to go quickly then.
The reload should not be such a big deal. Although there is still all of the software that I have to contend with in this office. But I recently rebuilt that brand new Dell 7000 from scratch for that office. So I have myself a new script for installing those. Now, I'm not going to try to take an image backup of that Windows 11 and install it on this computer that was originally Windows 7. Not going to do that, right, Jim?
No, God, no. Please, no. Please, no.
Yeah, not going to do that. So then here's other things. Then create current Windows 10 or 11, install media, disconnect from the internet, and install over the existing Windows. Oh, yeah, so that was installing Windows on top of the existing Windows. And I guess we did that successfully with Ken Stout. Delete the software distribution folder, update BIOS, check time zone, current time. And I have had that been an issue on one occasion, and fixing the time solved the update. Because the computer was failing to update from the time server, so it had fallen out of sequence with real time over whatever months or years since it was failing to update its time. Verify manufacturer updates, check for MBR versus GPT partition, let's see, that was a link provided by Vivian and Hollyrick, who came from this channel, I think. Haven't seen her for a long time. Privacy settings set for optional data, view diagnostic data. Don't really recall that one very well. So there's this one regarding Windows Update logs. Going to examine them, try to figure out what's going on, check Windows Update log files. Now these notes are kind of haphazard. They are not, they are not crafted and edited for convenient reading through. PowerShell get Windows Update log. Oh, we've been through that on my channel. I've done a few videos on that for getting those update logs and evaluating them, but they didn't really solve the problem very well. It's deleted after successful update. Yeah, this is more about the Windows Update logs. Check for residuals of McAfee lives safe using auto runs. I guess that was something we ran into with Ken. And remember this thing about AVG, that AVG thing that showed up on this computer. We might poke around and see if there's any residuals for that. Uninstall recent cumulative update to see if that process works. Well, that's what is broken. Run Windows Update troubleshoot. So there's a lot of stuff here that I have found successful in the past, and I'm pretty sure that I have run through this on this computer. Maybe not that last time that I was referring to, but the time prior to that. And perhaps I found something that worked. But just the time that it takes to go through this stuff, compare that what it takes to rebuild from scratch, and also the possibility that this computer may be an upgrade of from Windows 7 to Windows 10. And I just with the drama and trauma that a computer goes through, aside from being upgraded from Windows 7, a fresh install just can be a good, clean way to address this issue. Checking on chat. Here's where I left off. Kenny, go for it. Go for it. Which would that have been referring to? Go for the update. Attempting to install the update. Update the Windows servicing stack. And that is also in my list of things. I recognize that. Ron Barnish, hello. Doug, this brings up a very timely thing from Brightech. He showed us a tool that I remember from Microsoft, and it's a list of repair tools. And the DSM and ScanNow and some other tools are in there. Let me post the link. Could you restate the problem with this computer? Yes, the problem is client called me in a couple days ago. The computer was rebooting, saying it was trying to install updates and it would just reboot again, and it failed to ever get anywhere. I went into the office, I booted to safe mode, got a message that it was uninstalling updates, and then the computer was fine. After the last safe mode, when it started up to normal mode, I then again did a restart, because I always want a computer to have a fresh, normal restart. Restarting after safe mode is not a normal restart. And then it's been working fine with her for a couple of days, but I also postponed the updates. So it's all about failing updates. Doug, I think might be worth a refresher course to see this video on his attempts to fix Windows Update problems. I have seen lots of other YouTubers and lots of other websites address the issue, and I've, mostly always already known everything that they have, and they still fail. They don't always solve the problem. So how many other videos am I going to go look back just for a refresher? You're not telling me you saw something specific in there that I have not mentioned. So I'm not a big fan of doing that. I watch Brightech, I watch many others, and I'm a little frustrated with them on times, because they'll give, here's a problem. If you have this problem, here's the fix. No, it does not always fix. It is not a reliable always fix. And there are usually always methods I've already known of, and I'm go do it again perhaps, and no. And when they're showing it, they're not actually fixing a real problem on a real computer. And a lot of times they'll be simulating the symptom on a virtual computer. It's not real. It does. There's good value in their videos. Right, Techie does a good job, and many of the others too, that also do the same thing, where they're simulating problems or saying, here's what to do in XYZ scenario. And it does not always work in XYZ scenario, but they don't address that. So I get a little frustrated with that, but not discounting the value of their videos. Plus, their videos are always short and to the point. Unlike some people we know. Who would that be, Jim?
Oh, I can't imagine who that would be.
No, my videos are not intended to be short and to the point. This is more about community and real computers with real problems.
This is about simulating. Doug, this is about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, there you go. And there is a pleasurable journey to it in the terms of the community. We can hash things out. You just cannot get rid of those pesky cans. Jim's got a puzzled look on his face.
No, that was about kicking the can down the road.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, I think it was Louis' computer. Oh, yeah, Louis' computer tried to fix this update issue, and you follow that document. Yes, you're right, Ida. Yeah, Louis was live on my channel, gosh, what, a year ago? We had that problem. And also with Greg Guy. There's one fix that I never even heard of or would think of doing, that's modifying the size of the partitions that Windows uses when it doesn't install. There's 2 or 3 partitions made. I have had fixes where the solution was to free up disk space, where there wasn't enough disk space free for the update to process. Let's see, 2 or 3 partitions made during the installation. Well, he actually modifies the size of one of those. So he's saying that he's modifying the size. And that was Lawn Dog that was referring to Brightech, right? I'm not seeing where he mentions Brightech. That was Brightech. Come over here. He's muted. And I'm going to click on more. Does he doesn't have index positions.
No, unfortunately, he doesn't.
Show the troubles in Windows Update. Enough free space. Watch the whole video. Don't skip any steps. So he is dealing with Windows Update failed with a failure number. And I'm scrolling through to see if I see him showing free disk space. Here, capacity free space, 39 gigabytes free space. 66% is free. Oh, it's a 59 gigabyte drive. I don't think that's our problem here. Coming back to the subject computer to see how much free disk space it has. 372 gigabytes free. So that's not going to be a disk space issue. Now, is that what Brian is his name, right?
I believe so.
I believe so. Let's see if that's what he actually does, is to reapportion space. Well, this one's 50 megabytes. This one's 517 megabytes. He doesn't have much that he can pull from another partition. It goes into, looks like it goes into Partition Wizard. Let's see, yeah, Partition Wizard. Installs it. Oh, well, that's great. Install another program on the drive that doesn't have enough space. Do a Windows Update. Wouldn't be my choice. Partition size. So the partition size currently 58.36.
Yeah, but that that picture that shows of the drive looks to me like there's plenty of space.
I'm going back.
Yeah, I mean,
see if I can get to where you're talking about. Was it a
right?
here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, that's it right there. Yeah, and there's plenty of free space here. I don't see this as being an issue.
Well, it looks like maybe it was going after is this 1 gigabyte of unallocated space to add that.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not much. So this is showing used space, 12 gigabytes used. How does a C drive only have 12 gigabytes used with a running Windows 10?
Could be Windows 10 S mode, maybe.
No. Nothing on it, maybe. Literally nothing.
Yeah.
And in here, here's the C drive, 58.36 gigabytes capacity, used 12 gigabytes, unused 45 gigabyte.
Yeah, this is not a space issue.
This is a very unusual situation.
At one point, Windows 10, I'm back in my head, way back, had a problem with the first partition that was like 300 meg. Need to enlarge it to about 340. But they fixed that in another update. There's 4 partitions, as you guys know. You don't just partition. There's one that's 300, then there's 16, then there's the drive, and then there's 600 at the end, 6 to 900. And they had it too small at one point for the boots partition. But that should be fixed. But that's the only one that's ever been a problem with any partition size.
All right.
Because you can even get rid of the one at the end. I would not, and I'm not saying you would, don't do it, but you can get rid of the 900 or 600 to 900 at the end, and that's where your updates are stored for your rescue, your restore, and it'll still work. You just won't be able to rescue the door, you don't do restore when it goes to it.
Okay, well, he's going through a lot of different things here. He did the DISM. He's going into BIOS. I'd have to wonder if he's working with a virtual PC here rather than a real.
I've never bet on it.
Yeah, I've never seen him working on a computer that has a real problem. Again, not discounting the value of his content. All right, let's go on. Any chance of getting you to make that list available? There's a chance. I've had mixed feelings whether I was willing to put it out in its current raw form. Because I get hammered by people who don't realize the context behind how I'm making it available. I'll tell you what, Dave, send me an email, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com, and I'll email it to you. I'll probably just copy it from that OneNote, paste it into Microsoft Word as is without trying to fix anything about it. And if anybody else wants that, let me know, or do the same thing. Send me an email. I might wind up sending you a link to a Google Drive share, and you'll be downloading it from there. Depends upon how many people ask for it. If a lot of people do, then I'll do it that way. Otherwise, I'll just send it as an attachment. Now, I'm not saying it would fix this particular problem because I think he was talking more about Windows not going out to Microsoft and getting the updates, but along the same lines that are repair tools that might apply to us in this repair. It's great to have a refresher course on ideas. I thank you for the thought, but no, I'm not going to go chase every possible, hey, try this, review this, go look at this. No.
I will tell you that my standard philosophy when trying to fix problems with Windows, if I can't resolve it within about an hour to 90 minutes, it's an automatic reload.
Yeah.
Pull the data, reload, put it back.
That's absolutely from a productive technician's point of view, absolutely solid advice. Way to go. I just have to deal with the Dougs that are floating around in my head.
Yeah.
But I brought this computer back fully intending to just do it. I would have just, if it weren't for the fact that Saturday live stream was coming up. I would have just done it without even bringing it to live stream, but I didn't have anything better to hammer on today, so this is what you got. So it got hung up on an update, yes. And we see the version info build number. Okay. Hard pressed to imagine what that's going to do for you, but fine. WinVer. Which mouse? Yeah, so 21H1 build 19043.1889. Windows 10 Home. Does that cover everything you asked for? Version info, edition, and build number. Yes. So everything WinPremium was asking for there. Here is the reset tool, a bunch of other tools that I've seen that actually come from Microsoft. There's the download page. I think I'm aware of this.
Doug, that said 21H1. I thought that's what I
I
saw.
want to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 21H1. So it has failed the cumulative update for some time. Is 21H1 is still supported, isn't it?
It's still supported, but 21H2 was in December.
Yeah. Well, it's
So I'm wondering.
likely failed that.
Yeah, I'm wondering, just wondering, if doing the 21H2 update from the Update Assistant online would do anything for this.
Yeah, it could. And then I have to decide, do I want to go down that road? One of the things that I'm facing is a limited amount of time over this weekend to get this computer back. I need to take this computer back into their office tomorrow. So if after this live stream is over, if I just get started with the wipe and reload, I know I will be done in time.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So if I go down other holes with it and wind up doing a wipe and reload, that really shoots the rest of my weekend out the window. So I see it very challenging to talk me into going down another road.
Just take those other Dougs out behind the woodshed and just smack them.
That's it. And that's something that I knew I was going to face, and even bringing this to you guys today. Yeah, we want to see that W reset. I'm going to bar it up again. Reset Windows Update tool. This is from WindowsUpdateReset.com, not from Microsoft. Who is this? Is this somebody that wants to install a deep rootkit? This tool is compatible up to Windows 10. When you run reset Windows Update tool, the operating system version or build is detected. The name and family of the operating system are determined. If the operating system is not compatible, display an error message. Glossary. So it looks like maybe, does it use these various methods? All stuff that I can do and have done independently? Is it just a script?
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it's licensed under the MSPL license, Microsoft public license for details. See, if this is from one of the major names in the industry that we know about, I might be interested, but wreset.com, who is that? Whoops, wrong keyboard. So who is? We'll do a who is search. Domain name wreset.com. Registrar name is Namecheap Inc. It's not very inspiring. Name servers, Latino America Hosting. Name is redacted for privacy, which that's kind of a common thing. Address, Kalkoefensvugur, City, Reykjavik. Yeah, I'm not feeling real excited about that. Information updated September 24th, today. Maybe that just means that this information was updated to the Whois servers by virtue of my request. Registered December 13th, 2017, so been around that long. I'm feel a little leery about that. Let's see. Here's now this is Long Dog saying here's a reset tool, a bunch of other tools that I've seen actually come from Microsoft. He's claiming that comes from Microsoft. I don't see how you think that comes from Microsoft. I'd say the evidence is quite contrary, because over here they're showing it's using a Microsoft public license, that it's using tools that are provided by Microsoft under Microsoft's public license. This does not look to me like it is Microsoft. The W reset is somebody else using Microsoft tools, I think. Dennis just went live, DVR. Oh, he's caught up with us. Dave, my 55 plus years experience in electronics, very little is guaranteed when fixing things. I understand you're absolutely right about some videos, how the information is displayed. As we know, it may not be specifically fix a problem, but I'm pointing out possible approaches. That's all. I again brought it up today, but I saw a video from him that, yeah, and no, I have take no exception to you bringing it up. Just telling you my honest reaction, and I did go and look at it. I absolutely know that doing fresh install probably the best ultimate fix. Boy, I subconsciously put in the word best there. That's not what he said. It's probably the ultimate fix, but depending upon how you rebuild the computer, it can be time consuming. Yeah, it can. And it can be time consuming, and that's why I've mentioned before that I'm always drawn to looking for the Holy Grail, a way to fix things that I don't have to go rebuild them, because for my clients that have lots of different software programs, lots of different configurations, it takes a lot of time to do. Now, those tools that will install a bunch of utilities automatically, they don't do client-specific software. They do utilities that are useless to me. As in trying all these types of individual fixes, it's how we gain experience. Yes, and that's why I keep bringing this stuff back to you. You know, also, Doug, in my history of dealing with Windows, there are some machines with all their hardware and chips inside that they're goofy when it comes to Microsoft updates, meaning troublesome. Yeah. Greg, yes, you did 5 videos trying to figure out why Windows 10 failed all updates, and we wound up doing a wipe and reload on Greg's computer. And I've always thought that it's the collection of chips and how they're arranged that used to create the idiosyncrasies of the machine and the way it behaves. This may be one of them. Yes, Jim, the normal Windows area, there's plenty of space. It's only going to be changed 1 GB space, one of those partitions. I just thought it was interesting for an approach to fix this issue. Microsoft should have handled all the appropriate spaces needed during the installation. That's my thinking. May not be about space on C, about space on the EFI boot partition. Maybe that's what Brightech was going after, a space on the EFI boot partition. That could be. Yeah, I remember, as Jim's saying, I remember seeing 3 to 5 partitions made during the install. I thought this was extremely weird, should be consistent. Staged video maybe from Ida. I'm inclined to think that Brightech, most of what he does is staged. And I don't think he hides that fact. And I don't think that diminishes the value of his content. I would like to know if he's bringing solutions based upon his real world work with clients. I've never actually picked up on whether he actually has active clients. My suspicion is that he's employed in an IT department in a big company, but I don't know that. I agree that these real-life troubleshooting shows how many times you would hit a dead end. Yes, Doug, I have the same complaint about Microsoft. When it creates its updates, pushes them out to the world, they're always doing it on virtual machines, and we know what happens. I don't understand why Microsoft doesn't have a room with hundreds of computers, a history of computers, and a team trying the updates on real machines, but that's not what they do. I believe they used to do that. And maybe somebody can confirm, maybe even, maybe I'm suspecting Gary might know this. I believe they used to have rooms full of a variety of different computers that they would test. Then when they came up with the Insiders program, I think that was a move away from doing their own in-house beta testing and using volunteers from the Insiders program. And my perception is the value of that is that there is nothing they can do in a lab environment with a bunch of different computers, bunch of different equipment that accurately reflects the real world that their customers are operating in. And I think they ran into so much, I think this was back in Windows 95 days, I think they ran into so much troubles with, after doing the tests on their own in-house test equipment with a variety of different manufacturers and a variety of different hardware, they still were having so much problems that somebody, perhaps a genius, came up with this idea of using Insiders program. And then they actually I think that is in their history that they laid off a bunch of people that were doing that testing work internally at Microsoft in favor of the Insiders program. Now, with all that said, Gary, are you there that you can support my spiel there or deny it? Or are you even there?
I am probably here.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Did you
yes,
hear my okay.
From what I have heard and been told, they did do a lot more testing with updates. They do still do testing of updates, but the problem is they don't test every combination where they used to do a lot more testing.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. But they do more of the business type testing where the poor homeowners, their poor guy at home is kind of screwed over a little bit more.
Oh,
So
their internal testing is more focused on their business clients.
well, not really, but I mean, they don't test every combination like they used to. Before
Okay.
they had quite a mix. Now the mix is a lot less. I remember though, they have 180,000 users themselves.
Right. But they probably don't have the same mix of hardware that is in the real world.
That's what I was trying to say. So the upgrades, if you're running a standard system, Windows 10, Windows 11, Office, 365, maybe Visual Studio, maybe Visio, maybe Project, maybe some of their, their SQL Server stuff, their server stuff, all runs fine. When you start adding toys to the mix, McAfee, Norton, God knows, there's your problems.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't have a lot of problems, but we had a lot of stuff to ours that are vertical in it. Horrible. A lot of problems as opposed to just running at home. But yeah, they don't test as much as they used to. The Insider program is supposed to relate back to that.
Yeah.
But I do go back to what Jim said. You should probably try H2 instead of H1. H21 H2. Wasn't that what we were talking about?
Yeah. I think that is a really good way to go if I were going to pursue trying to fix this. I think that's probably a very legitimate. Now, it's also possible that I've already tried that on this computer, because that is in my list of things to do is to, now the way that I stated it was to actually do an install on top of the existing installation. Now, did that, I don't know that, I don't think, I'm not sure that I did that, because if I had done that, then that must have failed, because it's not installed on the system. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe I didn't get to the point of doing that. But still, I go back to the point that if I were to do that, then after this live stream ends, I would pursue that and then see if updates work properly. Either they do or they don't. And if they do, I can send it back to the office. And I've saved myself some time over the weekend. I saved myself from rebuilding it. However, this computer still has the emotional trauma of its long life. And I haven't cleaned that out. I'm very, very attracted to the idea of cleaning that out.
Oh yeah, nuke and pave in that case is probably more warranted.
Yeah, yeah. But still, this whole conversation and the consideration, it helps in my thinking and hopefully in the thinking of the viewers on these types of topics. Specific error isolated resure, the short sure fix is not a sure thing. Yeah, you don't have a specific error. It just fails the installation, and it downloads the install, the Windows updates, and then it pursues installing them. It does you get the graphic of it's installing updates, and then it tries to restart to finish installing the updates. And at some point during there is when it fails. I think the graph comes up that shows the bar going across from left to right after it has restarted, trying to do that install. And then it tries to restart again to bring the computer up to running state. And that's where the failure happens. Lawn Dog to Jim, generally speaking, you're absolutely correct. Wouldn't argue with you anyway. With today's Windows 10, Windows rebuilding is a piece of cake. Yeah, if you're just a piece of cake, if you're just reinstalling Windows 10, add the bunch of other software that my client has that adds more to it. But I'm ready to do that on this computer, particularly since I have recently recreated my script of all the different things to install on this computer, because the script that I had for them was kind of outdated. Some of those products they don't even use anymore. But I would like to toss you my Windows 7 machine with a 2 terabyte hard drive and about 1.2 terabytes of data and programs, mostly program. Let's see, it's a piece of cake, but I would like to toss you programs, mostly programs. I think that's what he's referring to about what I just said. The Windows 10 rebuilding is a piece of cake, but then when you add the extra programs on top of that, it takes more. 21H1 update to 21H2, and you can quote me on my time on the repair.
I think he's trying to be funny.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can quote me. Oh, he's going to give you his computer and expects you to quote how long it's going to take, is what he's saying there, right? As being funny.
Yeah.
Remember Windows 7 had 2 or 3 service packs. Then after you spent 8 hours, oh yeah, yeah. So Windows 7 was not as quick and easy to do a wipe
dear
and
God,
reload.
No,
Yeah.
God, no.
Yeah, we'll go back to 3.11 with all those 3.5-inch diskettes.
Oh God.
Swapping them in and out. For those who don't know, we have a stack. I don't know, was it 30 3.5-inch diskettes?
Was it that many? Jesus.
Yeah, I want to say it was. Maybe it's exaggeration, but you would put a diskette in to start the install. Then it asks for the next disk, and then the next disk, and then the next disk, and then the next disk, the next disk, the next disk, and then it would go back to an earlier disk. You're up to about 15. It says put in disk 8, and it asks for the next disk, and it'll go up and it'll go back and forth. So you never are really sure how many swaps you're going to do.
I don't miss those days.
You do remember what I'm describing there about going back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't miss those days.
No. Then life became wonderful when we could do it from CDs.
Yes.
Who remembers diskettes for Windows? There was like 8 of them at one time, or 9.
Now, are you going back to 5.5-inch floppy disks?
Yeah.
You say 8 or 9? Yeah.
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 And then we were so excited with Windows. I remember 98 SC, it took like for half an hour on some of the 300 RPM or 300 CDs. That took forever.
Oh, with Windows 98 Second Edition?
Yeah, that was so long one.
Was
Yeah,
that
program's
still
money.
was that still on diskettes?
But some did, because they did
Oh,
come with CD,
wow.
but you had to get the CD for some of the computers.
Yes,
was-
yes, okay. Yeah, it was a smaller quantity of disks because those were higher capacity disks.
Yeah, they're 144s. Yeah,
Right, right.
3.5s.
Back with 3.5s. Yeah, back with Windows 3.1.1, those disks were much lower capacity. I can't recall what they were. All right. Well, Doug, have you ever
They were-
crossed?
720, I think they were originally.
I recognize that number.
360s, 720, 144, and the 5.5 went to 1.2. Double-sided, double density on IBM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 1.2 was 1.2 gigabytes.
Megabytes.
Megabytes, 1.2 megabytes. So the
Yes.
320 and 720 was kilobytes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
320,
Okay. Kilobytes. Yeah.
344, whatever that number was. That was kilobytes, not
Yeah.
megabytes.
Yeah. Kilobytes. That's correct. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Too many forks in the road. Keep on path.
it's like the Star Wars movie. Stay on target. Stay on target.
Yes, I know. Oh, William Dawson. Yeah, I'm not going to do the wipe and reload during live stream.
Oh God, no.
That's easy.
We'll be here another 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Too many forks in the road. Keep on path. So, yes, I know it's not directly from Microsoft. I know what you're saying. If you want to spend the time finding the tool from Microsoft, that would be the proper thing to do. I don't think that Microsoft would have a comparable tool to that. I think that Microsoft's has all these the tools that was referring to. The DISM Fixit has separate tools. I think what W Reset has done is they've gathered these together to run as a single script. My concern is, how do I know they aren't burying something else inside of that could be a rootkit? And I don't have any knowledge of who this is really coming from.
Doug, I was correct.
What?
The higher density 3.5s are 1.44 megabytes.
Megabytes. Yeah. And
Because
so
the original
lower-
format was 720K.
720 kilobytes. That was that stack of disks for Windows 3.11. I think that I did actually experience Windows 3.0, but I didn't. By the time Windows reached my work environment, I think we were 3.1 and then upgraded to 3.11. Now, I was working with computers prior to that, just with DOS level, DOS text menus, things like that, prior to, I think Windows started in public exposure, maybe 2.0. I think I've come across people that referred to having experienced Windows 1 point something, but it wasn't very popular at that point.
They put it
And-
mildly.
Yeah. All right. And let's see, we are, what are we now? An hour and a half. So I'm not, I've got a couple ideas of things that we'll look at on this computer before we leave the live stream. But not a whole bunch. But our good friend from Brightech uses it, so I'm pretty confident it's not problematic. And by the way, I've seen this exact same tool before. It's somewhere in my collection. That lends a little bit of credibility, but the fact that somebody else on YouTube is using it, it doesn't quite lock it in well enough for me, because there are the malicious people on the internet have been able to thwart all the security efforts of major company, large IT departments with full security departments within the IT department, and the malicious people still get in there. So saying that another highly experienced, highly credible technician is using something, it doesn't quite cut it for me. Maybe I would test it in a lab environment, but then still the problem is, how do I know they haven't installed a 0-day rootkit that none of the rootkit scanning tools know about yet? Doug, you're too paranoid. Yeah, get over it. Not sure about reset tool, never heard of Iceland, but been there, done that. A friend of mine flew his airplane around the world, got a Guinness Book of World Records for doing that. As the youngest person to have done that, I think he was 20 at the time. And Reykjavik is one of the places he landed. That's the way I knew so easily how to pronounce that word. I would also give it a pass. I would not use it. Yes, you guys, I apologize for my statement as being a little bit grandiose. I've learned my lesson. I will not try to make the same stupid mistake in the future. I'm not sure what stupid mistake you're... Please don't think that you shouldn't be offering something or throwing something out there in the future. The tool, in my mind, I've seen it before. It's available from Microsoft. I'm looking for it right now. This guy may have repackaged it. Yeah, if they just repackaged a tool that Microsoft already provides that does all this stuff, well, that would make me more leery of it. I guess I'm trying to rely too much on our good friend Brightech, which I know, as we all know, and you have explained, can be risky. You never know if he's getting a kickback. I don't think he'd be getting a kickback from someone. Maybe, I mean, he's obligated to let it know if it's a sponsored video. I kind of doubt that that's it, but if that is a malicious actor behind that software, I'm sure he does not know it. I feel comfortable and confident enough in him. He would not be putting something out that he knows to be an evildoer. It appears more like a tool put together using common Microsoft commands, but sure it isn't. I think it is, yeah, putting together Microsoft commands, but is he slipping something else in there as well? Marty is saying goodbye. Goodbye, Marty. Sure, he's already gone. Yes, Doug, you remember correctly, about 10 years ago, Microsoft did actually try their updates on real machines, but they or someone at Microsoft killed the program in favor of virtual machines and the Insiders program. Not to mention how much money it would save on using real computers, right? And I think they get better testing by using an Insiders program. My understanding is that they did have their local test systems, and as you say, switch to the Insider programs. They should do both. I don't agree with that. I'd rather them not have the full load of variety of equipment inside. I'd rather go earlier to the Insiders program. I feel good about what they've accomplished with the Insiders program. Concerning what they do, Microsoft does pretty decent overall work. I agree with that. This machine we're working on has mechanical hard drive. No, it used to have a mechanical hard drive. I replaced that about a month ago with an SSD. I've heard hard drives, especially on laptops, go bad on Microsoft updates. It might be a good idea. Since you said you had update to 21H2, may fail, saw it with Ken and Greg. I think need to see how it fails. Issues during Microsoft updates. There may be some goofy sectors on this drive, maybe flaky. The system isn't picking it up. Well, it did a successful macrim reflect, image backup, and successful restore. It used to have a hard drive. Oh yeah, Jim's answering that. Please find a terminology for what I'm trying to explain. I'm giving you some of my life's experience. Lawn Dog says, thanks to Jim about the clarification SSD. I'm throwing out some fishing line here because I know a program. I've used it many years. Yeah, you know what a Texan throws a fish line. He's trying to catch something. Bellark Advisory. Have you ever heard of use it? It will tell you a lot of interesting information about a machine. It has a section for missing updates. And a lot of utilities out there that kind of repackage stuff that in information that's available from the Windows operating system. Kind of sounds like it's another one, but no, I don't know of it. Just another tool to look at. What's missing, do a little research because it gives you the KB number. You can look up, and I can find the KB number of the failed updates. If a person finds that useful, hey, great. But the information is probably available elsewise. I still have some 2.5-inch floppies and 5-inch and the drives. I still have a box of 2.5. The 2.5 or 3.5-inch floppies.
3.5.
3.5. Yeah, that was a misstatement. And of course, the 5.25-inch. Every disc just called out. I got them all. Double density. Yeah. Ran. I remember the first time installing 3.11 Office from a single I Omega zip disk. The sheer joy. Yeah. Zip disks were welcomed. Windows 1.1.1.0. I think there's a missing decimal point there. Speedy, Doug, perhaps the time is tight. Get the computer back to your client. Wipe reload seems the best. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Tech has a video on the same topic, I'm sure. You can tell I'm starting to scramble my words a little bit, so I'm close to the end there. Let's go say hello to Ken. Hello, Ken Stout. Oh, you are at a cabin. You off on a retreat somewhere? I can't hear you, Ken. I can't hear you. He must have his microphone muted.
Well, it was by
Can you hear? Noise. Yeah, I heard you a little bit there, kind of broken up.
Well, I'm not sure why it would have been broken up. What
All
about
right.
what about now?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds better now.
Get closer to the microphone, works wonders. Anyway, I thought I'd come visit you while you were in cabin jail. I thought maybe you might be a little bit lonely, so here I am.
Yeah, that looks nice. How's the weather up there?
It's nice. How's
Yeah.
jail?
Jail.
Yeah, look at the background. You're in jail.
Oh, well, let me spotlight you so I can see the background. I can't quite see.
Oh,
it
don't
there.
do that.
Let's see. There you are. Oh, yeah. Who's that back there behind the bars?
Hey, you gave me permission to work with these things, right?
I did. I knew that's what you were up to when you came on.
As soon as I seen you grabbing those, I was like, yep, he's going in jail.
Yeah. Is that your waiting room? Is that what your waiting room looks like when you put them in the waiting room?
Oh, what an idea.
When they misbehave?
Can you put MP4s in a waiting room?
No.
You can put music.
Oh, I gotta fix this thing here. How do I do that? There we go. I had my extra Doug on top of your cap there over the YouTube.
Oh, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to put you on top of my cap right here. That's not going to happen.
Oh yeah, a Doug in motion emblem on your cap.
Yeah.
All
That'd be a
right.
challenge. All right. Thanks for the
I'm
pro.
gonna take you off the spotlight there.
Thank God.
And we'll come back and finish up chat. Lawn Dog, I wrote through all my recommendation. Please point out that you're explaining the problematic issues that come up from getting unauthorized program or suspicious program. It's tough enough to get programs from legitimate vendors and the crap they put in them. The reset tool from Microsoft was originally a script. Yeah, I always lean towards using the native tools and methods within Windows. And I try to avoid using tools unless they do something that I can't do natively within Windows, such as Macrim Reflect, Fabs Auto Backup. What else do I do? Third party, not native Windows. I prefer Windows Defender, the Defender offline scan. I do sometimes turn to ESET, online scanner, which you saw me do last weekend. Dave says justifiable paranoia. I am very, very worried about the criminals on the internet and the malicious doers. I follow and listen to and watch a lot of content about what is actively currently going on the dark web and with attacks against corporations and all of the bad stuff coming out of particularly Iran and Russia in terms of state-sponsored threat actors where the government hires hackers to go after other countries and the corporations and such. Now, to be fair, our country does it too, but not to the level that our country doesn't go after. Iran and Russia are known, documented, to be using ransomware campaigns to help fund their operations. It's pretty major. Mark Rusinovich, I just finished all 3 of his novels through audiobooks, where he tells about, he's made up a fictitious storyline, but it uses real, credible actions of the threat actors, and it gives some stories about real entities that are involved in state-sponsored and private-sponsored malicious activity that are going after mostly large targets. But the problem with that is it's created such a large ecosphere. Not ecosphere. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Marketplace for the dark web, where there are people that specialize in creating original infection software, original connections to targets, a marketplace where you can sell lists of like password hashes that you've stolen from a company, sell it on the dark web, and then somebody else is going to try to utilize that information to actually do any form of malicious activity that they choose to pursue. The full marketplace. There are sites on the dark web where you can go purchase what you want and sell what you have to offer. And then there's the part of the marketplace that is referred to as script kiddies. These are novice hackers who want to be malicious, want to do evil things, but they don't have the skills. So they will buy the software to help them try to target somebody. I think that's why we get a lot of these emails that are so poorly designed, because they're script kiddies, low-level hackers that haven't learned enough about their targets to be able to craft well-worded emails to try to trick somebody into revealing their email credentials or whatever it is they're trying to do in a phishing campaign. And those level of criminals, I think, are just going to grow and become more commonplace. Sysinternals may have a tool that we are looking for. Yeah, with sysinternals, I could use the monitor, process monitor, to see what is operating in the background. Remember I think it was last weekend, where we saw Candy Crush being operated. So one of the things we could have done with sysinternals was use process monitor to try to figure out where is that, and is it actually the legitimate Candy Crush, or was it some other file pretending to be Candy Crush? Yeah, that's all the kind of thing that white hat hackers and pen testers will go after, trying to discover what is really going on. I'm not going to spend that time with this computer this weekend. I just don't have the time to give to it. Yeah, Ken has Doug in a cage. Why did my mind just flash on Doug in a can? I just gave Ken an idea. Doug, do you ever wonder what the Chinese might manufacture into their CPUs, boards? Oh, gosh, yes. I was in the U.S. Air Force security, worked for decades, and it was a big worry. Yeah, we get all of these parts for these computers that come from various countries, a lot from China, and China is also a threat actor. What could they be putting in the hardware that we're using? Oh, man. Do you know, Doug, a piece of history about United States government having having hard drive firmware modified. There's other nefarious things we have done, especially the big iron hardware. Well, one of the biggest well-known things was the thing that our government did to try to thwart, I believe it was Iran's work towards nuclear bomb.
We screwed with the centrifuges.
Yeah. What was the name of that?
Stuxnet, something like that.
Yeah, Stuxnet. That's it. Stuxnet was a piece of malware. Now we had to get it into their computers that were air-gapped. They weren't connected to the internet, and it was an effort to get some technician that was working in their where their centrifuges are to get their personal laptop infected, something like that, and get it into the office, and it was successful. And one of Mark's stories deals with that. One of Mark Rusinovich's writings of fiction deals with that subject. So there's some substantial real content in that. A quick scan, a list of sysinternal utilities didn't find anything related to updates. No, you won't find anything there specifically about updates. What it would be is looking for something that is preventing the updates from occurring. Going to corporations, well, particularly corporations in this world and the methods they use to infiltrate. From Dave Hull, they now have wires with key loggers built into them. It's true, most of the stolen data is sold over and over to multiple parties. Now, one of the upsides to that, one of the advantages to that, because of this marketplace on the darknet, whoever's doing the phishing campaign, when a particularly a home user or even a client calls me and says, Doug, I got this email that I'm uncomfortable with now, but I did click on what they wanted me to click on. And it wanted me to enter my email credentials. Did you do it? Most of them answer no. I had occasionally where they answer yes. So then I'm not in a panic then. It's not emergency red lights flashing on top of the car. I just say, okay, we're going to go change your passwords. We're going to put in two-factor authentications. We're going to check your email service to see if it has any forwarding set up, to check any secondary authentications that it has in place. Make sure that the bad guys didn't put in their own authentication so that they could take over your email account again. But the reason why it's not emergency red lights flashing is because those are automated emails. So when somebody clicks on one and puts in their real credentials, that goes into a database on the criminal's computers. Periodically, that criminal goes to download all the list of people who have fallen for it and put in their real credentials. And then they package that up and put it up for sale on the dark web. And then somebody buys that, some number of people buy that, and then they start trying to do things with it. So they might try to access that person's email and then read through their emails, or they might be trying those credentials on a bank website or a Amazon website or all kinds of different things, and they'll probably using automated programs to do that, and then eventually come up with some successful hits. And then they eventually try to do something with that. So what I'm getting at, there's a time lag between when my client contacts me and says that they did put in their real credentials. It's not, there's not a hacker sitting at a keyboard right now trying to do something with that right away. So that is kind of something I'm glad for, that there is this whole economic engine and marketplace, that it takes a while for things to roll through to where there's actual consequence that happens. And by the way, I am a victim too. Somewhere along the line, my cell phone number got into one of those databases. I get multiple phone calls a day that are obviously scams. I get text messages over and over that says hello, or it's been a long time since we've talked. some line trying to get me to respond. And I did respond to one of those when I was up at the cabin. I did a live stream on that. And that was when there was someone claiming to be a girl that was flirting with me, and it was clearly and obviously phony. It was right, Doug. Yeah. But I'm sure it wasn't the girl that was in the image. And I get these all the time. Other people that my clients, my family, they don't report getting all of that. So somewhere along the line, my phone number got into a dark web database, and it just keeps getting sold over and over and over. And I can tell when it has been sold again, when it's been put up for sale, because I get a new influx of a bunch of those kinds of text messages and calls over a period of a few weeks. And currently what I do, I just go block every one of those numbers when they come in. That's all I can do. I never answer a phone call from a number I don't recognize anyway, so I never wind up talking to them. CS Stuxnet, and they created an air gap for security measures, and we had to get creative and contacted the Israelis to create a tool that's ingenious. Yes, I think I said Iran earlier, but Israelis, I believe more correct. ANT, the NASA catalog of tools for watching us all. But if you think there's an individual sitting watching you every day, oh.
You have a very inflated sense of your own importance.
Yeah. And this is the only beginning of what we were up to. Oh, by the way, in Mark Rasinovich is one of his stories. I'm so glad that he put this in. They came across a certain threat actor and verified that this threat actor was already on the attention of I don't know if it was FBI or which U.S. institution, but they verified that person was already on their list, and his contacts were already being tracked. And they said, but we're not really watching him very closely because he wasn't high on their priority list. So even when a bad actor is identified by the three-letter agencies, that doesn't mean they're watching them real close, because they have so many other higher level threat actors to be watching. So if you think they're paying any attention to you, it must be interesting to be you. All right, the NSA catalog of tools watching us all, and this is only beginning of what we are up to. I can't believe there's so many exploits that they create a catalog. This is not the best material for looking this subject up, but it's something I found quickly. I'll take a quick look at that. I'm not going to spend much time on it because obviously you just found it. The NSA catalog of tools for watching us all. And there's certainly a lot of people that are very, very object very highly to this stuff, but them having these monitoring tools, I believe, have served us well in ways that we'll never know because they're secret. Do you know why Trump is giving us so many warnings about the Chinese controlling where things are manufacturing, especially chips? It's a touchy subject because we have done similar things. In actual hardware, I get approximately 3 to 10 calls a day, and I hate it when they use my local area code. Yeah, if they appear to be calling from your local area code. I've had them call even from my local city, but it doesn't have a name of somebody in my contacts, so I don't answer it. There have been many occasions when they come up, they have a name on screen, but I don't recognize it. I don't answer those either, and they are always junk, because I know that because they either don't leave a message or they leave a message that's obviously spam or scam. Do you advertise your cell phone number for your business? Yes. So my cell phone number has been advertised. It's not hard to find. If any of you want to test out your hacking skills or your research skills, you could go try to find my cell phone number. Not hard to find, but I am not putting it out on YouTube. 2 days ago, I got a spam call showing my healthcare facilities. It was Spectrum, my provider. I'm going to report them if it happens again. Lots of ways they could have come across that information other than a data breach from Spectrum. It could have been a data breach from Spectrum. I've gotten several calls from China. They leave voicemail in Chinese. Hello, Mike. Lawn Dog, I don't sit around and think that three-letter agencies are monitoring. My discussion has to do with our government doing the same thing and pointing fingers at others. We invented this dirty game. Yeah, I think it's quite feasible that the malicious actors on the internet have learned more about how to do their malicious deeds by virtue of things that have leaked about methods from our three-letter agencies, or even from what's the event in Las Vegas where the hackers gather? Come on, someone on Zoom's got to know that, or someone on chat will come up with it. There's no, not Comic-Con, Ken. It's got to come up soon. I'm almost at the bottom of the chat here. Story I heard was that Stuxnet was put on USB drives, abandoned them in Iran, and they waited. Yes, that is it. I do recollect that winter meet. Now that you say that, they just threw them out on the streets. I think in Iran or maybe in places where they might be suspected of containing something interesting, and eventually that got around to the nuclear facility where the centrifuges were, and that they were designed, that malware was designed to only wake up and activate when it finds itself on a network that has the equipment that controls centrifuges. So everywhere else that it traveled to around the world, it just did not activate because they weren't at a location that has centrifuges. AIs will augment the monitoring of us in real time. Yeah, but the AIs are not going to stand around the water cooler chuckling about what you searched on Google yesterday. That's the importance of a supercomputer. Once I dialed the one to have fun, but the guy pronounced my first name incorrectly, so I said no. The guy apologized to hang up. A year ago, a bunch of NSA tools got into the Black Hat. Selden Ball, thank you. Black Hat is a convention in Las Vegas where hackers. It's a huge event, and I call them hackers. That doesn't mean malicious intent. That includes pen testers. That includes white hat hackers. That includes blue team members. Includes red team members. If you're not familiar with all these terms, I'm not going to go into all of them now, but it is a legitimate, well-respected conference. And I'm sure some of the people that are representing themselves there as white hat individuals, good guys, pen testers, also may on the flip side be doing some bad things. In fact, on Security Now, and I think even Windows Weekly, they've told these stories about bounty hunters in that whole arena is people that are trying to find vulnerabilities in software or operating systems, and when they find it, they present that to the software manufacturer, hoping to collect a bounty, financial payment for having found that. Then the manufacturer can fix it. Well, there's been plenty of stories on Security Now, and I think also Windows Weekly, where the bounty hunter reported it to the company did nothing about it, and then the bounty hunter put that vulnerability up on probably on the dark web for sale to whoever wanted to buy it. And they've been criticized for doing that, but if the manufacturer isn't going to step up and pay for the bounty hunter's work and fix the vulnerability, then the bounty hunter, to pay for their time, they're selling that on the dark web. So some of them that are working on the good guy side are also sometimes dipping into the dark side to fund their operations. Oh, DEF CON. That's even better. Yeah, DEF CON. Black Hat. I think both of those are conference names. I think there's a Black Hat conference and a DEF CON. That would be Defense Convention, I think is what that stands for. Yep, you know your history. That's how they did it. How they bypassed the air gap. They did it by delivering Microsoft updates to the nuclear computer site. Microsoft updates? Well, part of the story that I recognize more is the thumb drives, leaving them out where somebody might pick them up. Cut grass, put down 4 bags. Oops, oh, that's chit-chat. Well, Doug, to be more specific, there are a bunch of highly specialized electronic controlled switches and gauges and other things used in the nuclear plant, and that's how it would search for these items. Yes, there was a 3-letter acronym for that type of command and control software that controls equipment. Computer software that controls equipment. I believe it's a 3-letter acronym for that kind of software. It's absolutely ingenious. There's the DEF CON website. So of course it makes it look like this dark evil genre. And then you go look at the pictures of the people and they look like geeks and nerds. Not that that's a bad look. You know, today's grocery stores, a lot of new buildings are all computerized breaker switches controlled by external company that controls the energy usage. Yeah. I wonder how sophisticated they are to keep intruders from getting hold of a control panel. I used to install these. Hey, baby monitors. Yeah, that's all the equipment that we have that never gets updated. Consumer grade modems, consumer grade routers, security panels, my alarm system probably. If you have a smart dishwasher or refrigerator or toaster, all those things never get updated. These bounty hunters will go after those devices, trying to find vulnerabilities there. And then what can you do with that? You'd be surprised what things they have found to do with these equipment that we have in our homes that you would think they couldn't really do anything with. Of course, cars. There's been plenty of accounts of cars being hacked. Well, today we actually have a broker that will sell your exploit. He will find you a buyer. Yeah, there you go. I don't know the guy's name, but he spent a lot of time in jail for computer hacking. Yeah, the brokers that will. And they have escrows. If you want to, for the people that are purchasing software to do ransomware campaigns, then there are vendors that will let you use their system to operate a ransomware campaign. You can sign up with their system and actually create a ransomware campaign using this or that tool, going after this or that company, and they will assist you with doing that. And then there are escrow services on the dark web to collect the money from your victim, and they will collect the unlocking codes from you, and they will give the unlocking codes to the victim. Once the victim reports that the unlocking codes worked, then the escrow operator will release the money to the ransomware actor. So these escrow services, their existence provides security for the victim to know that when they pay the ransom, they will actually get a working, functional unencryption code. We found a new business to start. DEF CON is.
Doug?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be funny. Kevin Mitnick was the guy.
Yeah.
They got arrested.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Mitnick got arrested for his own
right.
work.
And he started a business. He's about
Yeah.
he's worth like 500 million now with the business.
Oh yeah. And he does a lot of public speaking, and he's written a book, and I've read that, and I've listened to his speeches, and I guess I got mixed feelings about saying that I'm happy for the way it worked out for the guy, but to say that is kind of condoning what he did. But he is providing good, valuable service to the community at large now. So I'm glad for that. But yeah, interesting, fascinating story. And he was mostly social engineering, if I'm remembering correctly. And phone phreaking, where his start in the business was going into central office facilities. That's buildings or structures that might be at multiple locations in your town where they have phone equipment, and there's no humans in there normally. And he would gain access to those and make some changes to equipment, gain access to phone systems, come up with ways that he could dial into a phone system to do malicious activity, and phone phreaking and social engineering, where he would call somebody and convince them to let him into something, into a site. I think one of his stories was social engineering to get a technician to let him into one of these central offices, where he installed some equipment which gave him remote access somehow to that equipment. Padre SJ attended DEF CON a few years ago. He did quite well on some of the practice exercises they did. Yeah, they actually teach hacking, and they have hacking competitions for all different levels, all different skill levels. Marcus Hutchins, Kevin was another guy, Kevin Mitnick. Yeah. Alias, hello Doug, and Smart Toaster. Really, you can play Candy Crush Saga on it. Yes, I believe Kevin was the first one to break out in this new industry. Yeah, he was one of the pioneers. All right, let's go do a last thing with this computer and then put this live stream to bed. Now, what was the last thing that I wanted to do over here? Anybody remember? I'm shaking his head no. There's one last thing that I said, yeah, we'll go take a look at that. Hopefully someone in chat, yeah, I'm going to stop following everything that comes up in chat. Just looking for somebody to come up with, what was that one last thing that I said we would go look at? Resource monitor, that doesn't ring a bell. Task manager doesn't ring a bell. We don't come up with it.
Maybe it was the 21H2 update, maybe?
To actually run it?
Yeah, but that's going to take too long.
That's too long. It was something that wasn't going to take very long to do. Long Doug, pull the hard drive on the machine we're working on, run an external scan on it, and we can pick up this repair after that's done. No, I don't have enough time to do that. I need to get this computer back to the client tomorrow.
It's a nuke and pave, boys and girls.
Yeah, this is nuke and pave. As soon as the live stream ends, I will start that. We will know the drive is pretty clean, so we can contemplate next step. No, not going to happen. System file checker. No, that's not what I was going to do, because I have very low faith in that.
Yeah, even on a SATA SSD, a reload of Windows 10 might take 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a SATA SSD. Yeah, so nobody came up with what I said was the last thing we'll go try, and I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was very significant. It was mainly I was saying, yeah, we'll try that just because it was going to be a short thing. I think it was just looking up a piece of information. I don't think it was actually an action expecting to resolve the problem. All right. So I'm going to come over here to Zoom and ask you guys to audibly say goodbye to the audience, please.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Gracie.
Audibly saying goodbye.
Chris there?
I'll say goodbye for Chris.
No, he may have fallen asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to click you guys off. Thank you for hanging out. And end meeting for all on Zoom. Okay. Come back to here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. As I mentioned at the beginning, these videos, most of my live streams are not intended to be quick, short, brief answers to an issue. It's more about us collaborating. Let's put it that way. All right. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.